Can you hear me? I am so overwhelmed at the showing of love and support for our beautiful daughter. A beautiful soul gone too soon, but she was taken by the God who loves her at the time he knew was right, because we don't know what plans he has for us. I want to share with you a little bit about Chelsea, a little bit from childhood and on to the Chelsea that you knew. But first I want to say that today, most especially, is a celebration of her life. She had a beautiful life, all the struggles she went through, and I'll give you a little background on that. She always had a smile on her face. She always had a hug for anybody who needed it, and she always had a kind word. If you take a look around here, Chelsea, in the last few months of her life, were some of the happiest moments she's had. She worked at Home Depot for about 3 months, and there's a beautiful table over here from her coworkers at Home Depot with a little bit, an apron for Lily with messages from all the employees, an apron for the Sadler family, and an apron for our family. And those employees, those wonderful people, wrote messages of love about Chelsea. Somebody said, "Hey Sparky, I'm gonna miss you." I was walking through the aisle the other day when we went to look at the display, and somebody said, "You know, she worked right there, and I'm really gonna miss her," saying, "Hey, how you doing?" She left an impact on everyone that she touched. And one of her supervisors, when I met him the first time without Chelsea there, he said to me, he said, "She's really a catch. She comes to work smiling. She comes to work ready to learn." And they said, they can't believe that you have somebody who comes to work smiling and leaves smiling at the end of the night. Always smiling and always happy. And that happiness masked in some ways. I mean, the happiness was true and real, but it masked in some ways the turmoil Chelsea had inside of her that she lived with for many years. She was a little girl in kindergarten, and I went to a parent-teacher conference, and I sat there, and all the parents were around there, and all the children were bringing out their little cigar boxes with goodies in them, right? And these kids were counting out these little paper things, which were paper dollars. And Chelsea opened her box, and there were a few crumbled little pieces of paper. And I looked at the teacher, I said, "Chelsea hasn't earned any money?" She said, "Well, the children earn money for good behavior." And I said, "Are you telling me Chelsea is a bad child?" And she said, "Well, the good behavior is standing in line, paying attention, raising your hand when you want to speak. That's good behavior, and that's what they get rewarded for." And I said, "I have a question for you, Miss Berta." I'll never forget her name. "Is Chelsea polite?" "Yes." "Does she say yes, ma'am?" "No, ma'am." "Oh, she does. Her manners are great." I said, "Does she say thank you?" "Yes." "Does she say please?" "Yes." And I said, "Don't you think that's something a child should be rewarded for instead of punished for not standing in line?" And as we all know, everybody is different, and people learn in different ways. So it wasn't a week later that Chelsea came home from school, and do I have it? I hope I have it. So proud of herself. I can't find it, y'all. It's on my seat, I guess. So proud of herself, and she said, "Mommy, Mommy, look what I bought for you." And she bought me a little gold bunny with a red rhinestone eye with the new dollars that she had learned for her good behavior. I still have that little bunny, and I was going to put it on, but it didn't quite match. But anyway, it's here with me today. She was rewarded for her good behavior, and all her life, all she wanted to do was be kind to people. So we saw the Home Depot things, and I also want to tell you all, this display here of Chelsea was designed with love, and it is Chelsea. Chelsea's in an urn here with the birds flying. Piece of driftwood And every rock that you see on this piece, Chelsea collected with her little hands. And when I say little hands, I'm reminded of her papa, who was her best buddy, who died when she was 3 years old. Because just before he died, he was walking on, looking at the pictures of Chelsea and Marty. He said, just look at those little hands. Chelsea loved rocks, and she collected each of these, and we have little bowls around, and I think Zach has been refilling them, of rocks that Chelsea picked herself with her own little hands. If anybody wants to take a piece of her with them, pick out one that you like. Please do that. Like I said, I'm going off the cuff, got a few notes here. So she's also smart. And Kathy Sadler, Gabby's going to know this story, and so will Roger Sadler. We lived in Germany. Oh, look. It's the bunny. And I'll share with you, by the way, that since Chelsea's been struggling with addiction, I keep every single thing she gives me. Every piece of paper she writes a note on. Everything that she puts in the house and leaves there. I leave it there because I knew this day would come. I knew it. Anyway, I digress. So, she was smart. We lived in Germany. Germany has those autobahns. You know those big highways where everybody goes about 100 miles per hour? We lived in 3-story military housing. And I was supposed to go get Chelsea for a doctor's appointment, and I called the school and said, I'm coming to get Chelsea. She was in 2nd grade. And they said, okay, she'll be ready. Well, the teacher opened the door and sent her down to the office. And Chelsea opened the school door and walked right out of the school. I get to the school, and I said, I'm here to pick up Chelsea. Oh, she's in the classroom. Teacher says, no, she's not in the classroom. She's in the office. Well, where the heck is my daughter, right? I am so distressed at that moment. And I drive, I'm looking for her. And I get to the apartments across the highway, the German highway, 3rd floor, and my mother-in-law was up there, and I could hear her saying, Chelsea, honey, there's no way you could have run home all the way from school. But I did, Mama, I did. At that age, simply from riding in cars or whatever, she knew how to find her home. And she went home. And the school got a real talking to from me. But I think they learned their lesson at that point. So anyway, she's a smart girl, and everybody who knows her knows how smart she is. High school. We lived in Hawaii. Chelsea was bullied. And I don't know if it's the term bullying that we would think of today, but she was the only haole in the school, which means white person. And there was a particular girl there who didn't like the haole and who picked on her. She was depressed and distressed. We actually had a call from the school for a suicide ideation. Had to have the ambulance come. And she was okay, but that's some of what started for her, okay? And it hurt her a lot. High school. Chelsea wasn't a cookie cutter child. Chelsea was Chelsea. She did things her own way, and if you didn't like it, she'd make you like it. Anyway, in high school, we elected to have an operation for Chelsea because she had an overbite, and they gave her an operation and wired her jaw. And as she was recovering, we parents that many years ago didn't know, we fed her oxycodone, Vicodin, you know, those pills that get everybody addicted these days, right? So, the most important thing about this is to say that Chelsea has told us, ever since she took those pills, she's been trying to chase that. It changes your brain waves. So I'm being honest with you, that's what she says. I've been looking for that ever since. And that's what led her to drugs, lots of different drugs, but she ended up with, in this case, meth. Now she tried to fight this seriously tried to fight it, and she hid it because she was ashamed. I can't tell you how many times her father said, Chelsea, if you need me, if somebody hands you something, call me, I'll come get you out of that situation. She couldn't do it. She was ashamed. She told me, I'm ashamed, I can't call Dad and tell him I'm about to use. And she said by that time, she had to, okay? So, she said at one time, do you think I want to be like this, Mom? Who wants to grow up to be an addict and destroy my life and everybody else's life? You didn't put a needle in my arm, Mom. It's not your fault. And she gave us that gift. And she also gave Lily a gift, her beautiful daughter, of telling Lily that Mommy's been sick for a long time, and I was sick before you were born. There's Lily, sweet girl. She said, Mommy's been sick for a long time, and I want you to know it's nothing to do with you. It is not your fault. I've been sick for a long time. And Lily remembers and knows that Mommy's sickness is not her fault. And that's a beautiful gift she gave to Lily and to us. Right, Jonathan? So, she had this beautiful child, Lily Annabelle Sadler, with her wonderful husband, ex-husband at this point, Jim Sadler. And Chelsea couldn't stop. And I won't go into detail, but however, Chelsea went to Teen Challenge 2, maybe 3 months after she gave birth to Lily. And Lily's daddy and her grandparents took her up to Maryland, and they've been doing a beautiful, wonderful job raising Lily. And there's not a holiday that came by that the Sadlers and Jim, her daddy, got Lily down to see Chelsea. Many of you Teen Challenge girls have seen Lily. Many of you know her. So she'd go see Mommy, and that's a lot of the pictures we have up here, Teen Challenge and Lily with Mommy. And that's just like, where do the holidays go? Oh, I know, we were at Teen Challenge, you know? But Lily would be so sweet, and everybody loved on her, and everybody loved Lily because she's so special. So she was in Teen Challenge. It's a 13-month program, highly recommended. Had a lot of chances. Pastor Jared will mention some of those today, but she went through it. 13 months with no drugs. I couldn't understand how she came out and had to use if you're clean that long. But there are things I don't understand about addiction. And I want you to think about that old commercial, most of you have seen it. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs, where they crack that egg into the skillet. The brain never gets eaten or taken away or cleaned off that skillet. It's scrambled. And I caution everyone, as you go through your life with your children, with your relatives, some of you have experienced this, that you be very careful with medications that are given to you. Medications can save you, and medications, if used incorrectly, can kill you. So Chelsea, the program, like I said, was great. Statistically, Teen Challenge and Saving Grace has one of the highest percentage rates of success, but not everybody makes it. And we know that, because for Chelsea, it was a struggle all her life. But Chelsea left us with a legacy. She left us with a legacy of Lily Annabelle Sadler, the most beautiful, that's you, the most beautiful child you'll ever see, who is so much like her mommy because she does not meet a stranger. Lily, you remember when we were going through the airport and you were trying to hold everybody's hand? And one man got mad. What is she doing? I'm just trying to hold your hand. Anyway, Lily doesn't meet a stranger. The Sadler sent us a picture of a dock up in Owings Mills, Maryland, by the Chesapeake Bay, where Lily saw a family, and they were on vacation from Africa. And Lily said, look at this big family. And she went over, she said, can I be part of your family? And they opened their arms and they took her in, and there's a photograph that was posted on Facebook by the family that said, this is love. And there's Lily in the middle of that little family, big family she adopted. She has a special gift, and she reminds us of her mommy, and that's going to live on in her. And so what I want to do right now is I did actually write a poem for Chelsea that I'd like to read to you. But first, there's a gentleman in this town. His name is Mr. James Moore, and his son died of a heroin overdose approximately 8 years ago. If you live in Mississippi, you may have seen the billboards across the state of a picture of he and his son that says, "Addiction is not a moral failure." Okay? He gave me this book because we spoke to him. He gave me this book, Why Don't They Just Quit? Which I probably should have read a long time ago. However, the opening of this book says, "Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has strife? Who has complaints? Who has needless bruises? Who has bloodshot eyes? Those who linger over wine, who go to sample bowls of mixed wine. Do not gaze at wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the cup, when it goes down smoothly. In the end, it bites like a snake and poisons like a viper. Your eyes will see strange sights, and your mind imagine confusing things. You will be like one sleeping on the high seas, lying on top of the rigging. They hit me, you will say, but I'm not hurt. They beat me, but I don't feel it. When will I wake up so I can find another drink?" Proverbs 23, verses 29 through 35. 2,000 years, or 2,025 years, people have been struggling with substance abuse. And it's time for this country to take action, and I think they're starting to do that. But keep your loved ones close, hug them, love them. Know that any of us, not due to addiction, but simply due to turning the wrong place on the highway, might not see your loved one again. So love them, make sure they know you love them. Chelsea knew we loved her. She always knew we loved her, no matter what. And I was so proud of her. So I'm going to read you this poem. It's called For Chelsea, Too Soon. Chelsea walked this earth for 35 short years, but oh, how she lived. With sparkling eyes of emerald fire, she gave far more than she could give. Her laughter danced like wind through trees, like sunlight dripping from the sky. When she walked past, her scent remained, a whisper soft that won't say goodbye. Though sickness tried to steal her soul, a battle fought too long and too hard, she gave her love till her last breath and left behind the tears we weep. A beauty rare, a spirit bright, Chelsea lit up rooms with just her grace, with kindness as vast as the oceans are wide, and with love no sorrow could erase. But what she leaves, her brightest spark, is Lily with her mother's glow, a child of laughter, wit, and heart, more loved than she can ever know. That's right, we love you, Lily. Everybody loves you. That's you. And in Lily's eyes, the sky lives on, so bright, so blue, so bold, so true. The kind of light that lifts us up and paints the darkest gray with blue. While she left this world way too soon to be with God, where pain can't stay, her legacy walks hand in hand with Lily, growing day by day. That's for Chelsea. Gone too soon, but God knows what he's doing, for he knows the place he has for us. He knows where we're going. One final thing, I have permission to share this with you. I'm going to try to say it as briefly and as succinctly as possible, that some of you don't know the conditions of what happened. But Jonathan called me in Florida, where I was with my brothers, having a great time with a little reunion. And he called me and said, "I can't reach Chelsea. I'm worried." Well, there have been times we can't reach Chelsea. No, Shelby, it's different this time. Texted, called her, sent her the last message, which she had done many times in the past. "Are you alive?" The last text he had from her said, "I love you, Daddy." He knew something was wrong. He didn't know the exact address, but he knew where this wonderful woman, Jeannie, lived, who offered Chelsea a home in her room, a beautiful room that Chelsea loved. She had her own bathroom. It was a beautiful life. They had dinners together. They washed dishes together. Chelsea did a little yard work for you, right? Jonathan didn't know the address, but he made it to that house. And when he saw Chelsea's car outside, he knew she was in there. The house was locked up tight. TV was going. A beautiful little cat was sitting on an Afghan. Just a very peaceful scene. And the police came. And he said, I know my daughter's in there. And they said, sir, and actually one of Chelsea's fellow employees and Jeannie's friend came and helped them get in the house. Sir, we're going to have to ask you to step back. That's my daughter. You can't tell me to step back. Sir, step back. And he did. He stepped back. 3 officers went in, went through the door. He saw their silhouette. And when the first officer, once the third one got there, opened the door to Chelsea's bedroom, my husband, Jonathan, straightforward, was blinded by the most blinding light he had ever seen in his life. Whiteness all around him. He could see nothing but white. At that point, he felt a peace come over him. And Miss Allie Russell shared with him the oil, the anointment of oil. He felt a peace come down his body. He said, I know Chelsea has seen the face of God. And I said, you know what, Jonathan? Because we knew she'd been there a little while. Not long. But I said, I think she hovered around in there a little bit and said, hang on, Jesus, my daddy's looking for me, and when he finds me, I got to let him know I'm here. And so, what a miracle. What a miracle. Chelsea was meant to be in this world. She was meant for Jonathan and I to be together. When her grandfather, when Chelsea's grandfather passed away, who was a Baptist preacher for 25, 30 years? Ocean Springs Baptist Church. He passed away, and we flew from Germany. We were sleeping in the middle room, a beautiful room with satin blues and everything. And I woke up, and Pawpaw, Jonathan's father, was standing at the foot of my bed. And he said to me, I'm with God. I'm with Jesus. Take care of my girls. And folks, I was not a believer. I was not a believer. But I was baptized in his church right after that. Chelsea meant for our family to be together. She brought us together. She's a miracle from God. And I'm glad God has her in his arms right now. Thank you. Pastor Jared? And these wonderful folks who are coming up to talk to you have a lot of experience with Chelsea during her time after she went up to Teen Challenge, and she was a challenge. And they'll probably share a little bit about that with you. Thank you.